This is a chat with my friend Dan Rebar. He's an American, former US Army, served mostly in Germany, Michigan State Trooper. He is a father, he's many things. He's the longest serving foreigner in Hospitalers Medical Battalion, and he served from Kursk to Kherson. When he came to Ukraine in April 22, he's not left since. Dan's a dear friend of mine, and quite often he's an older man and a voice of reason that I can bounce things off. I really value my friendship with him. I hope you'll enjoy this long-form chat with him. First, a message from our sponsors.
Special Operation Forces would like to express our deep gratitude to Brandon Mitchell for ecoflows which he provided for us. It will help us to complete our tasks more efficiently and fight our common enemy. Thank you. We really appreciate your assistance.
Дякую велике.
All right, Dan Rebar, welcome back to my office.
Good to be back.
Last time we did one of these was September, October 23.
Was it?
Yeah, outside of
I can
everybody's
say-
favorite burger place in Kramatorsk.
Yeah, W Burger, and I remember the place, and
There
I
you go,
remember
Mrs.
that it
gonna
was
hit it
fall
now.
time, but the years are blending together.
Last night, I walk outside. I'm just going to go to Pusaka Hata to eat my normal food. I see your car, and we go to dinner with a Swede and an American donor who
Yes.
helps you.
Yes.
And this is not you and me, but like for the benefit of everybody, if you've never seen Dan before, from Detroit, American, served in Hospitalers Medical Battalion since May or June 22,
April
22.
Yeah.
And you've never left Ukraine since?
Never left. No, I can't, because I'm afraid that,
Yeah.
you know, as long as you're here, they're good. You're fine. But the moment that you leave, you'll be okay. You might have to pay a little fine or something for an overstay, but you'll get out. But coming back can be the problem.
Yeah,
So,
it's a big problem.
yeah.
Have you ever really wanted to leave?
No, there have been times where I had a little bit longer break in Kiev, like now, for example. A few weeks in Kiev, well, I could like travel to another country in Europe and visit a friend or something.
Go to Italy.
Sure. And so if, I had a visa and everything was legal, I would do that. But I don't. So if I would leave, I could get trapped outside. And that's my fear, so I don't do it. Do I feel like I want to go somewhere for more than a visit? No, this is where I want to be. Except New Detroit.
Yeah.
New Detroit was that's where I really enjoyed being.
Yeah, so for the benefit, I posted a picture from Suja. All the town signs in Suja are New Detroit, and they were all covered in the summer of 2024.
If you refer to that city that we occupied in Russia for 10 months, it's New Detroit. And if you want to give it the Ukrainian slant, New Detroit. So
Yeah, that was a real class thing, and I like how you guys made the effort to go. Like, you got the signs printed in Kiev
I got them printed in the United States and shipped over.
and shipped over.
And if anybody knows Polina from Team Frame,
Garda, Polina Nigor.
Garda, yes, she is a graphic designer, and so she created the sign for me. The digital. I sent it to. So it was it was a joint effort, but
It takes many.
Yeah.
Tell me, I'm just curious because I had a complete misperception of your military service. Somebody asked me, and I told, Dan was in he was either in mechanized infantry or armored in Germany. What was your military career like? You're 54 now.
I was
How
military
old were you?
police.
What year was it when you joined? Like, how did your army career work out?
I was Air Force, and I
Air
was
Force.
1990 to 93, and I was military. We called it security police, but military police, 11 Bravo. No, 11 Bravo was infantry. I forget now. That was a lifetime ago.
But it was mostly in Germany, wasn't all your services in Germany?
Not all of it. The brunt of my service was in Germany, in the Hunsrück, and then I followed up in Montana, out in the missile fields in Montana.
Missile fields like Jake Bro.
What, because you're pretty much a fluent German speaker,
Pretty fluent.
pretty fluent. That's not common for a serviceman, for like
Yeah, because I didn't learn when I was a serviceman. I learned how to ask for a beer or ask, "Do you want to dance?" You know.
yeah, okay.
Two-
Basically, how to
2
get
years.
drunk and how to get laid.
And 2 years in Germany, that was the. But I met a German woman. I ended up going back. I played American football there in Koblenz.
German women, but you met
And,
one German woman.
And there, I decided, I need to. I'm not living with Americans in America. I need to learn the language. But
Yeah.
German was easy. German's a difficult language, but it came really easy for me. In 3 to 4 months, I could stumble around. After 6 months, I was very conversational, and after a year, some people I could have short conversations. They wouldn't even know I was a foreigner.
Sure.
Here, Ukrainian,
Bit different, isn't it?
either it's really different, or I'm really different, or both. But it's tough.
Yeah, I'm at the point I can express any wants or needs or accomplish any task in a group. But to talk about Taras Shevchenko or society,
Yeah.
I don't know when that'll
I
come.
can communicate to people my ideas and but when they respond to me in rapid fire Ukrainian, I can get lost very quickly.
do you feel like you have enough vocabulary? Well, you need a lot more. You get hung up on the words you know, and they're 2 sentences down the road. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I find myself I answer one question, I say something, and then I move on to the next thing, and I'm like, oh, I already used that phrase in the first one, so I don't want to use it again. How can I say it differently so that I don't sound like I only know 6 phrases and I
Що,
keep
тому
repeating
що, але, однак,
them.
yeah, тобі треба, потрібно, yeah.
Right. So treba and potribna is
Same shit.
Same way to say the same thing with tilki and prosto, and they're. So I try to mix it up so that I don't sound like I just learned 101, but.
But again, one of the absolute few foreigners who's trying.
Not
to
I think
bash
there are
anyone.
more. Yeah. I mean, I know some foreigners who, when they got here, they just decided, no, it's going to be too difficult, and so I'm not even going to try because I'm just going to fail. And for me, Ukrainians appreciate it, right? The Ukrainians are like, oh, you're learning to speak the language. Oh, that's great. And then they'll tell their friends, oh, listen, he speaks. Okay, good. But really, I'm doing it selfishly, because if you can imagine being somewhere for 3 years where every day you're not aware of the conversations going on around you, it gets really frustrating.
There's a certain bliss to it too.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. So my initial goal was like, I just want to be able to convey my ideas and have them understand me, and then I'm good. And then I realized, no. That's like goal A, but goal B, I want to know what's going on around me. I want to know when we're, especially in the work environment.
Perfect. Yeah, this is the thing, you don't want to be left out. I remember the Starbuck got blown up the next day by a pretty big cob. But the Nachmed called us all together, and there was 20 of us, a big stab, and said, la, 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 la. And then Ruslan's like, Brandon, rozumiesz? And I was like, Pidere? Plus minus? He's like, da, Brandon, Pidere. I was like, okay. And it's like, his whole 5-minute speech, it's like, I've never, read the room.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I've fallen into the habit of when situations like that happen, I just nod, yeah. And then after, when we're away from everyone, I'll ask one of my team members, hey, what did I miss? And I'll say, I got the gist that it was this or that, this, and they'll say, yeah, but, and then they'll, oh, I'm glad I asked, because there's, something important that I missed.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to stop them in the middle of it and go, wait, no, I didn't I'll handle it privately.
It's like this, I learned this with Nika, because sometimes I'd say I would be like, what is he saying? It's like, well, why don't you just let them talk? You know, like, and I've seen that so many times. People like, I seen that with the Mozart group, you know, and they're like, this is my terp. It's like, he's not a fucking raghead. Sorry, but I speak my you can crucify me. It's like, no, we're here, and they have the largest standing army in Europe, and we're just trying to fit into it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're an asset to them. They're not your terp.
Right.
You know, and
right.
I never liked that attitude.
I think the whole process of Westerners coming over here to teach and instruct the Ukrainians was flawed from the whole onset, because who in the West had the knowledge of tactics and whatever that are effective in this type of war and this type of fighting, you know? So I know that there were people who were genuinely here trying to help, but I just feel like a lot of what was driving that was opportunists who said, hey, they're going to, you know, pay good money for people with some qualifications from the West to come and share our tactics and technologies and this. And I think a lot of it was just a fake sale. And I don't, and certainly I don't mean, you mentioned Mozart, and I don't mean to paint Mozart with that brush.
There were some great guys in Mozart.
I know,
like
I know.
Steve. I don't know if you ever.
I'm just saying that there was early on in the war, there was, I think, I hated that whole thing, and I probably didn't like some good organizations that were, you know, really doing a good thing, just because I was kind of grouping them all together, because there were just too many of those fly-by-night, you know, jokers who were out here.
I did a podcast with a guy named Dodge Woodhull. We have a lot of personal friends. Dodge has worked and thrown a lot of money in that to become a big podcast. He's had celebrities on there, like you probably would know who Wayne Rooney is, or like people like this or this guy. But it's, I don't want to insult it, but there's a lot of English people who drink Stella.
Yeah.
And they're in a certain, they read The Sun. I do have some friends, but that's not my social standing. And I did that pod, and I just told my experience, but I told him before I did it, I watched his pod with a guy who was in the SBS, and now on all his pods he says SAS, because they get a better click rate, right?
Yes.
Because everybody knows who the SAS is.
Of course.
And I watched his pod, and I knew he was one of them. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm going to come to Ukraine and start this. And he said in his pod, and we registered a business in Ukraine. And that was us showing our commitment to the Ukrainians, that we're investing and we're here for the long run. Well, he's not here anymore. Like he came on fact-finding missions or did whatever. But it's like, okay, so you registered a business in Ukraine. A business is for profit. And it's just the way he worded it and spun it. But because he's got that SBS background, all the lads, SAS is best in the world, man, kick Delta Force's ass, and they're 8 pints in. What do they know? But a lot of people, I'll close up on this, one of the organizations that I had a real bad experience with, all their funding came from Texas. He was an ex-Navy SEAL. His best instructor he had was just a Marine, and he told him, I can't pay you because of our business model, like him and all the operators, because our whole business model is the best of the best, teaching the best. And he's like, I know it's, and that wouldn't work. They're all gone now. But the Marine did the better work of anyone. And I brought him to Stabik because he became a civilian paramedic, and he spent a month and he did amazing things. And then his girlfriend was pregnant and he went home. Thank you. Do you know what I mean? But all those guys in
Here's the thing. I don't care what unit you're from, what country you're from. When you come here, you're learning everything new. You're learning everything new. You know, there is an exception for a medic, because medication, you know, TCCC is TCCC.
Biology.
So you can come,
Physiology.
So good qualified medics can come here and work as medics and be very, very effective. But infantry and, you know, I don't care. I don't care if you're from Special Forces. I don't care if it's the individual. It's not what your former training was. It's what attitude you come with and what willingness you come with to learn their way and work their way, mesh with them. And if you've got a whole lot of tools in your bag, come here, shut up, learn how to work with them, and then once you're in with them, working with them, doing their thing, then start to bring your tools out and say, hey, look, this can enhance this can enhance this, you know, but too many Westerners didn't do that, and Americans were leading the way. You know, they literally came here, you know, with a jacket on or something like that, and as soon as they got here, they stood up, they unzipped it, and big S on their chest, you know, I'm the American, I'm here to save you and teach you how to win this war, and it was
Not only Americans.
just not only, no, there were.
I remember one Swede.
I remember a Brit too, which is funny because we talked about this last night. I didn't get to finish it. This Brit put on his Facebook post, his profile picture was him in what might have been a Ukrainian army uniform. I don't know, but literally like 12 rows of medals. And yet everyone knows that this person has not been active. They've been in the rear for years.
Yeah.
And probably surviving on donations by putting up pictures of them holding guns and things like this. But when my roommate went looking for this picture in the medals, it was gone. And all trace of it was gone from the Facebook. So when we saw it, we immediately were like, oh, this is 1,000% stolen valor. This is my belief, only my belief, but my strong belief is that someone called him out on it. And maybe he even faced some like threat of prosecution or something that he needed to, because I'm sure that these were purchased Ukrainian medals that he had. And I'm sure that they have some sort of, regulations that prevent the whole stolen valor thing, especially at a time of war. That's like such a, oh man, that's a heinous thing to do.
I know another British guy who's on YouTube who's got a few like that too, and it's like you just gotta let them crack on. But Harley said it the best. It's like, 70% of the times when you get a medal in your unit, there's like 10-20 people getting one at the same time, and there's always a photo. Do you know? So it's like if you don't have that, like Leola from 36, like I got her the Kazavac, but I knew that picture. Forgive me for my marketing for fundraising. She's getting her medal pinned by Zelensky. It's like, you know what I mean? So I knew that picture existed. I scoured the internet for like 10 minutes to find that photo. Yeah. I'm not saying we're all getting one from Zelensky, but it's it's a bit ridiculous. And the volunteer medals that aren't real medals, like for bringing a car to Ukraine. I received one. If I'm going to be honest with you, I threw it out. I was kind of embarrassed. And it's like I rather be known for what I did in 35 or 28. You know what I mean, or in 36. Not for giving a car to 37 Brigade because they needed one because the car we got them through the organization. The commander, anyway.
Well, the idea is
I got you a car to ecoflows and I get a medal. Yeah.
Whatever we're doing here, we're not doing it for a story. No. We're not doing it for recognition. And if you want to know what I've done here, don't look at my freaking chest. Don't look at my posts on Facebook. Talk to the people who worked with me. Talk to the units that I worked with. Yeah. And then
talk to Bagheera, talk to Yelma, talk to Nemo.
Right. But if you don't have anything to back it up, that's all you have is the story that your chest tells, or the story that you get to tell on your little comments in Facebook. Oh, today we did this, we did that. We have blood in our hands.
But I've kind of learned. I don't know if you had any of these naive fantasies in your head before you came here, but all that glitters is not gold.
Oh, for sure.
And now I look at things here that are not perfect. Government's not perfect, the army's not perfect, the people are not perfect, and I'm only looking at us before the Russians. But now I look back because I'm one of the biggest admirers of Winston Churchill, and I was like, wait a minute, we didn't have access to information like we do nowadays. And it's like, maybe he wasn't so great. You know what I mean? Maybe it wasn't our finest hour. You know what I mean? Maybe there was a lot of moments of doubt and pain, and they did the best they could. Do you know what I mean? But there was
Yes, but there was
blunders we will never know.
There was definitely a different path for the Allies when you switched from Chamberlain to Churchill.
Yes.
There was a new direction, a new path, and that ended up being the path to victory, right? And that I'm glad that you mentioned Churchill, because I'm a big fan of Churchill as well. And we know that Churchill was ousted shortly after the end of the war. There's such thing as a wartime president, you know,
Yes.
or prime minister, versus a peacetime economist,
Yeah, Batley comes out.
diplomat, and So in Ukraine, obviously Zelensky was popular enough to be elected.
A peacetime president.
And yes, as a peacetime president, but he had a lot of detractors as well, and which every elected leader gets, right? Everyone gets this. But after the war started, you know, his popularity surged. As the war went on, his popularity waned a little bit, but he was still at 60-44. And then there was the debacle at the White House in the Oval Office.
And then he just went through the roof.
And he went through the roof. And the best.
And it's held. It's kind of held.
And I talk to a lot of people here. I talk politics with them. And there are a lot of people who now say, I didn't really like Zelensky when we elected him, but I think he's the right guy for the moment. And when Trump was first taking office, and there were these debates about, they had to postpone elections, which of course their constitution requires that they postpone elections because they're under martial law. So it's all legit and it's all necessary. But some people, the Trump administration had some people reach out to some of the challengers to Zelensky here. So leaders of different parties that not his party, who would be the presumptive opponent, political opponent if there should be election. And the people from the Trump administration reached out to them and said, hey, would you run? Do you think that we should have, try to promote and push for elections, and would you run? And they basically, to a man and woman, said, no, I will run against Zelensky when the time comes, but now is not the time for it. We can't. We don't. And they all shut it down. Like that freaking MAGA cult vermin tried to influence Ukrainian politics.
Tried to sponsor a solid coup.
And they didn't realize that the Ukrainian people are all united and shut them right down. Just forgive my language, but bitch slapped them and sent them back home.
That's soft language for this channel.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a very difficult situation, and I've had to come to terms with that myself over the years here. It's an unbelievable amount of strain on people, on families, on children, on parents of children.
Yes.
And essentially, like, you're a father. I have not had the privilege yet, but you want what's best for your children. And the amount of stress that man is held up to.
The amount of stress, especially for someone who is not a career military man, is not a career politician, who is not, he was thrown into the fire, right?
He's running on instinct.
Yeah, and let me please go back to the Oval Office, because I want to tell you something. The way that things come back around, and that truth always prevails, right? When he went to the Oval Office on that fateful day, MAGA will try to say that he was just there to sign a contract, and he was not. He could have signed the contract the way that they eventually did, from overseas. The contract did not provide security guarantees to Ukraine. And that was very, very important for the Ukrainian people. And Zelensky, in order to try to get those, to procure those security guarantees, thought it would be best to go and speak with Trump privately, so he didn't have all the middlemen and this or that, talk to him face to face, and he was confident that he could get some security guarantees written into the contract.
Yes.
So that was the purpose for the meet. They didn't make it a one-on-one meet. The MAGA administration, brought press in, created a big event, brought the whole people, the Rubio, the JD Sissy Pants, and this whole group, and sat there. And then JD Sissy Pants tried to lead the discussion and start talking about we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, and Zelensky, what triggered this whole like turmoil and response, very juvenile, pathetic response, was when Zelensky said, "But JD, what are you talking about? How are you going to negotiate with Putin? You can't negotiate with. How are you?" And that was what triggered it. Was he was saying like, no, you know, Trump he's the negotiator, and he pissed them off when he said, "How are you talking about? You know, what are you talking about negotiating with? There's no negotiating with him, right?" And that caused this whole fight and get kicked out of here and no mineral deal and halt the weapons, and which Hegseth 3 times now halted the weapons on his own, should be charged criminally. But all of this and the whole MAGA group was, he's unfit. And what's happening now? What's happening now? Over the last week and a half, every time Trump is asked, he says, I had a horrible call with Putin. He didn't go in. I don't think he wants peace. I don't think he tells us all this nice stuff, but it's just BS that he's throwing over. What is he saying? He's saying you can't negotiate with Putin. The same damn thing that Zelensky told him, tried to tell him in the Oval Office, and they jumped him and attacked him and kicked him out. Okay?
Yeah.
So
And
my
what did he say at the
message-
end? This is going to make great television.
Yeah. And here's my message to the whole MAGA group. If you're ready for the next lesson on how to deal with Putin, don't worry. Zelensky is here. He will teach you again. You know, the first lesson took you a long time to learn, and you acted like ignorant, pathetic children. Maybe next time you'll come up and say, "Oh, you obviously know much more than we do. Please teach us." Because exactly what Zelensky said would be the problem, they're now saying, "Oh yeah, this is the problem. We have to do something different." And apparently there's going to be an announcement tomorrow. So we're recording this on Sunday. On Monday, there's supposed to be some big announcement.
This is not going to come out for a month or two, but
I know. That's why I'm
I
saying.
want to ask you some things because I want to know, but these are more timeless. The politics things, the war bloggers can put their spin on it, and I want to know your opinion. But personal things. Do you identify as a Republican in normal America? I'm a conservative. I am a conservative.
I now
by nature.
identify as a conservative.
Yes.
And proudly as a rhino.
As a rhino.
As a rhino. Rhino is a term that has been traditionally used for people who it stands RINO, Republican in name only. So it's people who have the R in front of their name.
Yes.
But they have, they don't have the conservative ideas, right?
Sure.
So in years past, rhino was an insult. But now what you have is you have the conservatives, and then you have MAGA, which is a whole different party.
Fanaticism,
It has-
populism.
The Republican Party throughout history has always supported American intervention to help those in need, those free nations who are in need.
Yes.
You can go all through history and you see this. Now, what happened was this full-scale invasion occurred at a time when we had a Democrat, Joe Biden, in office. So when Joe Biden reacted and supported Ukraine, it was pathetic support, but he supported Ukraine. Well, the whole MAGA, what do you want to call it, fanaticism, ideology, is that everything Biden does is wrong.
Yes.
So they immediately had to say, no, he's sending money to you. We shouldn't even do that. So it turns them isolationist.
Polarization.
Right? Yeah.
In all issues.
And here's my thing. This whole phrase, MAGA, right? Make America great again. Boy, that sounds good, right? That sounds good. The question is, when you say again, you mean that at another time, right? So when was it great? When was it great that they're aiming for? Great in the Reagan era? Great, when? Because during those times, we absolutely were not isolationist. All during the times when America was great, we would be defending Ukraine. We would have our army here. We'd be rolling. Always. So no, they're trying to lean on, if you want to know how Reagan would respond to this, watch a video clip. It's about, 30 minutes, give or take 10 minutes long, of Reagan addressing one of the anniversaries of the Normandy invasion at Pondelhat, and just watch that. You bring a box of Kleenex, but watch that. That will tell you what real conservatives and real American patriots, the way that they would feel. This MAGA group is antithesis, and it's horrible. You remember when the United States had a deck of playing cards for the
Iraqi regime?
The Iraqi regime, yeah. And had, I want the playing cards, and I want J.D. Vance on there. I want Peter Hegseth on there. And what's his name? Campbell now?
I'm not adept in American politics.
Peter Hegseth's assistant or deputy.
I just get the headlines.
He's on there too now, and yeah.
And the consequences.
But it's all the MAGA group, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene and her freaking Jabba the Hutt husband who tried to insult Zelensky, her boyfriend. I don't think that either of them would. I don't think they'd give a marriage license to them. They're afraid they'd reproduce. But yeah.
What about the Ukes though? I mean, that's why we're here. Tell me about. You're essentially the old man on rotation. Like with. No, but
oftentimes,
in your equipage.
Yeah, well, for sure, yeah.
And you're in Sumi more often than anywhere else now since Sumi kicked off and further beyond. I know a couple of your teammates. I'm very fond of them and who've gone elsewhere. Tell me about some of that, some of your rotations, some of your work, some of the brigades. A lot with Deschavets, with 80th, with 67th Brigade.
Yeah. Well, I wish I could say something bad about any of the units. Maybe every Ukrainian unit is outstanding. Mm-hmm. Or maybe we're just blessed and we've worked with the best, right? Mm-hmm. But amongst those that we've worked with, 80th Deshava, 80th Air Assault, that's a high-speed unit. That's a really high-speed unit. And if anyone knows my partner, Dron, he joined them. He signed a contract and joined. I could only support him. Of course, my team went down in our abilities after that, but that's okay. He's doing what he needs to do, and that's great. But that's a great unit. That's a really great unit, and that's who we went with into New Detroit.
Yeah.
And of my time here, I loved serving in Kherson. I loved serving in Bakhmut, all through Donbass, near Liman, in Yampil, in the Kremina forest. That was great duty to live with them there in the blindages, the little dugout hole in the ground, and work out of there. Those were all great, fond times, but they also had one thing in common, is that every time that we were getting targeted, whether it was close or whether it was a little far off, that Ukraine is being destroyed. And when we went to New Detroit, I woke up. I don't know. The best thing I can try to compare it to is after you bought your first house, or those first days of your honeymoon, or you've met your special, and when you wake up, you have this realization like, oh, life is good right now because I finally own my own home, or I'm with this woman that I love, or man that I love if you're a woman, or whatever. But I had that every morning when I woke up in New Detroit, because typically when you wake up, you're hearing a little boom, 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 bang, right? And I just was grinning ear to ear because every shell that was landing, every rocket that was landing was destroying Russia.
Russian soil.
Yeah, and I was just, it just warmed my heart, and I don't think my feet touched the ground the whole time that I was there. That was a few months, and so that was
Nice change.
Oh, that was really good, really, really good.
Do you get a feeling, so when you got like the overhead cover at the border, it's just like a gas station, like a giant gas station cover.
Yes.
And then you come through on the other side, there's a little, maybe 100, 200 meters up ahead on the right, as you're driving into Russia, there's like a shed, and there's spray paint graffiti on there. And I asked my friend, what does that say? I couldn't read it. And it says, "You're a fucking idiot." And like, that's Ukrainian humor. It's like, you're probably going to die. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
That's leva, and that's Ukrainian humor.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I don't know how to explain this. You're not a gamer, okay? But there's these things called role-playing games.
Oh yeah.
And I used to play them as a kid, Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And you're in a city. And in the game, but when you leave the city, it becomes like this just a little block, and you're in the world.
Okay.
And you can like walk to other cities, and monsters can attack you and stuff. But when you cross the border and one Starlink just shuts off, like to a line, the Starlink just stops working. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm in the world now.
Yeah.
Because it's all flat and wide open.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're a long way from home.
Yeah.
But then to come back and you see that Ukraine sign, not from Poland, not from Hungary, not like getting screwed by the Poles for 6 hours at the border, and then you see the Ukraine sign.
Yeah. It's guys that just wave to you.
It's just like just the guys there under the cover. It's like,
right. Yeah.
And it was and it was just cool.
Yeah.
Tell me this, because you're a driver, and you've done a lot of evacs. You've done a lot of time just being there, sorting shit out. That road, like from Sumy City, is a rough road. It's a dirt road. It's a long road. The last truck I bought for my buddy Losha there, that's taken some guys with contusions, but it's a Prado with BF Goodrich all-terrain tires. He's probably towed 50 guys on that road. Like that's, how many times have you strapped a tow line? I know you've put a armored defender on its side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like just some of the normal shit.
Yeah. So
day-to-day life.
Not talking about there, but talking about in Kremina, where we put the defender on its side. The problem is you're driving through a forest there with heavy tanks and tracked vehicles and BMPs, right? And you're sharing the trail. And in the spring and in the fall, it's very wet and muddy, and you drive through it on Tuesday and it's fine. But Tuesday, a column of tanks came through, so now you get there Wednesday morning and you're done.
Yeah.
And so you curse the BMPs and the tanks for doing this, but then you start praying for another one to come, because nobody's pulling you out of there except for a tank or a BMP, and you get out and you wrap up your steel cable, and then you run it out a few meters ahead, so that when they come by, you just say, "Hey, come back," and they pull back, and you throw it over the pintle hook, and off you go, right? So, it's but I mean that's the game, right?
That's the game.
That's the rules of the game, and that road that you're talking about specifically, leading from Sumy to across the border to New Detroit, there are parts of it that are really horrible, and then there was a couple of stretches of it where the Russians had moved fiber optic drones into those areas and had parked them.
That's fun to be.
And we had some real bad runs where, before we know what they're doing. They've already taken it
Like
out.
when they're hovering on the ground and waiting to attack.
They would be
Like
on
the
the
grass
ground
when they do the
waiting,
grasshopper tactic.
and then when they would see something coming, they would pop up and boom and hit, and you could have the jammers, the web, but they don't work against fiber optic.
No.
So now what you have in those no, I don't want to talk about that. But there's a defense system now that will help that.
Yes.
You can't 100% prevent, but will help that. But that road is particularly terrible, and unfortunately, that's been a very costly road in the
It was the main MSL.
lives. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it at
Yes.
night. Like there's literally 100 cars moving one way and the other way. It's like when it was still rocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other way is in. They're all closed now. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
first tank was like just showing me the cup of us. Like, yeah, you don't go that way now. We go this way, and that's been good for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
That's the challenge for drivers, because every time we were going,
You drove the mission.
you're going between point A and point B, and on Monday you learn this route, and it's not super simple. It's not just like drive around here, make a right turn, and you're there. No, there's 4 turns, right? And make a left at the destroyed house. Okay, but then on Tuesday, no, that's not safe there anymore. So now we've got to go this way. And by the time you get to like Friday, they've had to get real creative, where there's now 16 turns inside this thing, and you can't remember if that was the turn from Friday or no on Thursday. On that landmark. No. I think that was from when. It's tough. And then of course they have the like you say, Starlink cuts out there. It's blocked. It's jammed. So you try to use your GPS or whatever, but you can't drive and manually, it's very, very challenging. Very challenging.
First time I learned about this, and this is not in a life-threatening mood like in Zaporizhia, Uspenivka. So you go down, there's Hulapuli, there's everything. Again, it's all Russian now, but if you wanted to get out to the nearest town with a hospital where everybody goes, if you take the road,
Yes.
but if you take the cornfields and the wheat fields, and it's dry, it's smooth, and you're driving a Bogdan ambulance or whatever you're driving, and I've done the route, but then you've got to remember, it's 3 cornfields straight, then it's 2 cornfields down right,
Exactly.
and then you take 1 this way, but if you go 2...
And if you're going on the street...
If you go 4 cornfields, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
But you only have to remember 3 blocks, 2 blocks,
Right.
2 blocks, 1 block, and then you're out on the main road again where it's shit for about 2 kilometers, and then it's all fresh pavement from like before the war.
Right. And on the streets, you're like, oh, it's the first left after the bus stop. Or it's after this street sign, or it's the house with the blue fence out in front, but when you're driving through the cornfields and the open fields and landmarks are hard to come by. Really, really hard to come by.
Let's face it, and I'll name them, God bless them, but like if they had the intelligence, like when Chris and Andrew died in they took the perimeter road in Nosova, in Solidar. You used to park by the gas station, you do your pickups there and go, but they kept going right up around the perimeter road. You stop in Blahodotne, at the top, you talk to them, it's like, no, that's a no-go. After the gas station, take the first road on the right into the interior, and then you can get to the CP. Well, the church, no, there'd be, by then where they would have got done, there'd already be a T-72 hidden somewhere, but it's like you can't just, and any veteran would understand that from Iraq, like in Fallujah, you know what I mean? You think you're shit hot in an armored Humvee, but they'll just rock you with RPGs, so it's like you gotta follow. You can be behind the building and the infantry can be engaging, and that's pre-FPV. That's pre-FPV driving. Now FPV, you can just, there's SOPs to mitigate.
Exactly.
But you still have to do your runs.
That's the key. It's mitigate. Yes.
Mitigate.
Yes.
And you've done a lot of that. You've done a lot of so like I noticed one time, because you've got basic mechanic skills.
Hobby mechanics.
You've got a lot of skills that a man would acquire over years. And funny little thing for me once. These SSO guys, young guys, they had they were changing the tire on their car, or no, somebody's tire broke down in one brigade outside of Swish, and then these guys come. You know they're SSO just because everything is, and they're young, fit, whatever, and they're trying to help the guy with the tire. But then the old TRO guy who's like 55, 60, he's like, Suka, get out of the way, young boys. Even though they can do pot shots at 200 meters like this, they don't know their way around a car like this old TRO guy. Right. And it was a real humbling moment, you know, his gray beard down to here is like, this is my show.
Yeah.
And that's a real beautiful thing in the Ukrainian army, that there's a lot of skill sets from civvy life.
There's a lot of skill sets. And so first, Ukrainian people, their society just in general, people are very capable at things. There's not a lot.
Tinkerers, they're tinkerers.
Yeah, so we play a game here on my team, and I'm probably sharing a secret here, but there's a game in the United States we call Slug Bug. Every time that you see a Volkswagen Beetle, which we call a bug, the first one to see it, you call out the color of the car and you get to punch the other guy.
Yeah,
so Slug Bug red, right? Well, you don't see a lot of Volkswagen Beetles here in Ukraine, but what you see a lot, you know this, is one vehicle pulling another vehicle down the road with a strap or a string.
Yeah.
So we call this slug tug. And yeah, we play a little game where if you see that, the first one to see it, you get to punch the other guy, right? And then we also have, you gotta buy a beer if you get 3 in a row and blah, blah. But anyhow, it just illustrates. I really started that game because I so appreciate the fact that Ukrainians don't just, if the car breaks down, they don't just call the wrecker right away, or they get a flat tire and they like, wait, what can we do? Flag down the next guy. You got a strap? Of course I do. I'm Ukrainian. You know, you throw a strap and you're pulling this guy along, right? And just everything. When things go wrong in the house, there are 3 or 4 guys that are like, oh, well, he's a plumber, he's an electrician. So first, they're very handy with their hands, right? They're all, like you say, when you get to a certain age as a man, you should have learned some of these things. Well, in our advanced Western societies, that is a bit passé, right?
We're not all learning them, and we're not learning them to a high proficiency.
Right.
They do.
And here they're doing it much more. So you have that benefit. And then also, you know, when the war started in Donbass, in Luhansk and Donetsk, the Ukrainian army was very small. And so they started taking people in to be soldiers. But when the full-scale invasion hit, then they had to just start bringing people in. The whole conscription, right? So these people, yes, they're soldiers, but they're not career soldiers, right? They were electricians, they were IT developers, they were, you know, dentists or
actors,
farmers, actors, right? So whatever their civilian role is, they're bringing that with them to the field. And so, yeah, when your car breaks down, there's a lot of auto mechanics who are out there in the field, you know, and now they're walking around with a rifle. But if the car or even the tank breaks down in front of them, man, they're invaluable.
Yeah,
right? They're
and some of them get really happy to get into their old trade.
They do. They absolutely do.
It's we can all shine at certain things, you know, and you've got your skills, I've got my skills, and that's what half the war is when nothing's happening, trying to fix things or make things better, and I've done a lot of oil changes, you know, like I said, like I've seen more blood than oil, but all the stains on my clothes are because peroxide takes out blood. You know what I mean? And we're pretty good at not getting blood on us. You know what I mean? It becomes a pretty.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like I learned how to lean forward more. I don't know how good it is for your back, but it's like someone sees my coat. Is that blood, man? I was like you know, like the guy yesterday. Yeah. Is that blood, man? And then I have to disappoint him. No, it's motor oil.
Yeah, right.
That don't wash out.
Right.
That don't wash out.
It doesn't. Yeah. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. And I keep making a mental note for myself every time I go to Epicenter, because Epicenter is the buy everything at Epicenter, right? That's
Especially when you're a foreigner and you're not
Yeah.
used to fucking around in the Renock and going to 20 different places to get your
stuff right.
For them, that's second
one-stop
nature.
shopping, and it's
pay a bit
Epicenter
more,
is
but-
basically Walmart, but not
Walmart.
not all of the Walmart clientele.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everyone goes there.
more normal people, but you can get everything at Epicenter, right? So in that shopping list in my mind, there's always a jug of like abrasive hand cleaner, like Mechanic's hand cleaner. I've been here for more than 3 years. I've never actually bought it, but I think like next time I'm going to Epicenter, I got to get that.
Yeah. You buy everything but
Everything but
tow ropes. I always bought tow ropes like 5 at a
Oh,
time.
I've got
because
a cable and 2 fat ropes and the thing I don't have yet is a kinetic rope. I need a kinetic rope, but yeah, that's
because they won't
permanently
snap,
done.
right? They will not snap.
They won't snap, and what the benefit of the kinetic rope is you can yank with it, and you're not risking doing any damage, ripping any parts off the truck because they kinetic. They are so if you think of like the Chinese finger lock.
Yeah, I got something else caught in one of those ones.
Oh, okay. But
Just joking.
yeah, but that's what the kinetic rope does, right? So like I'm gonna pull you out. I don't pull out until the rope is taut,
Yeah.
like you do with something else, and then go. I leave a little bit of slack in it, and I get a little bit momentum because when it first goes taut, it stretches a little bit and then it pulls. There's
Okay.
no yanking. There's just a build up the pressure, and then
So you've already got your torque going, like
So,
the
yes.
vehicle's already
Yes.
in motion. And
you're already building up your force, and even if you just stop right there, you've still got a lot of force to pull, that truck up.
And then it's a lot easier because you've already got some motion.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And it's safe. You don't have, pieces flying off of the car flying at you. You don't have, steel cables that are snapping and whipping. And yeah, the kinetic rope is a really, really great thing. And I just haven't, I have some donors who bring stuff over to me or send stuff over to me, and I just haven't asked them for that yet, but I need to. That's a real good tool.
Oh, that's a game changer. It's a game changer. Do you? So we talked about this before. Like, you're probably gonna stay. Like you. I remember you saying, "Oh, well, I'll go till I'll stay till I'm burnt out, and it'll be one." But you're probably not leaving here.
I burned out a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
I burned out a long time ago, but what am I gonna do? If I leave here, all I'm gonna do is kick myself for leaving here, right? So,
I was standing over the ledge a couple times in Sweden. Yeah, don't do it to yourself.
No,
Don't do it
I
to
know,
yourself.
I know. So, no, I'm here till victory. We can talk about the 2 ways that victory can come, but I'm here till victory. Victory will come. Victory will come. And I'm here as long as I'm still above the surface. I'm here. And then I have things in motion where I'm going to be sharing time here afterward too, because if we could have wrapped this up quickly when we first came here, we could have finished the job. We could have then we could have gone, and Ukraine would be fine. There's way too much destruction now. There's way too much harm done to the psyche of the Ukrainian people.
Every year this war goes on, it's 15 years of repair, probably.
Exactly.
On every level.
So, yes, exactly. So because we in the West have been so deficient in our response here and in our actions here, Ukraine is going to need a lot of help after the war too. And I know the people who are watching your videos, they know this, and they're on board, and they're part of.
It's
the
like a
team
religion.
that's going
It's
to-
like a religion.
Yeah, but they're
A new age.
they're
religion.
going to be part of the team that is going to make it happen. And Ukraine's going to be a very beautiful, wonderful place, and they're going to have a very strong, wonderful, vibrant society. But it's going to take time. So I'm not just leaving after the war's over. I'm a part of me is staying here. I'm probably going to share time and split time because, like I say, at the beginning of the war, I thought we need to help to win this war. And now it's progressed to where we need to help to win this war, and then we need to help to rehabilitate Ukraine.
You want to talk about your dream project?
I mean, I can talk about it. It's the problem is it's still preliminary, so there's not much attention I can bring to it. But I've already talked about driving in the Kremina forest, and we already talked about these other skill sets that Ukrainians bring, outside of just war fighting. In a nutshell, I'm driving through the forest there, and I'm looking at these other, So what is a?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Always worried about my battery.
So what is a Ukrainian military vehicle? Well, it's a 4x4 truck that was, probably average 15 to 20 years old.
Yeah.
That was painted green and threw some off-road tires on it, and off you go. And so I'm looking at all of these people driving through these tank tracks and these, mud pits and everything. And I'm going, dang, these guys are good. These guys are good. I've been to off-road rallies in the United States, and there are some guys who are good off-road drivers, and then there are some guys who are there because they bought a monster truck and now they're, going to drive it, and you can see they don't have a clue what they're doing. These guys were good, man.
Yeah.
These guys were really good, and I was like, it's going to be a shame when they aren't doing this anymore, because they have this skill set now that they're not going to be able to use, because Ukrainians are driving small cars, and they don't have big off-road trucks that they're personal. They're personal
driving
cars,
and
they're right. So I was like, well, that's a shame. And then it dawned on me that there is an organization that is in the United States for war veterans that gives recreation and rehabilitation to soldiers by engaging them in an activity called overlanding. And what overlanding is it's car camping, but into remote destinations where you need four-wheel drive to access them.
Yes.
Way into the mountains, or, it's very big in Australia when they're going out into the desert.
Yeah.
So my thought was, well, shoot, that would really serve a lot of things. And I won't get into all the details of it, but basically, I'm founding an organization that will operate here. I have a donor on board who's, we're finishing our agreement to purchase 4 or 5 vehicles to outfit for this type of thing. And eventually, when the war is concluded, we're going to go outside of the borders of Ukraine and go to the neighboring countries, so that those big donors in the countries that have supported Ukraine can see and meet who they have been supporting. And they can introduce us to their land and show us their treasures.
Oh, yes.
And so I want to create that sort of rehabilitative synergy, where the soldiers always have trouble reacclimating into society, right? And what's better than to be able to get away from that again for just temporarily, just for a 4-day trip or a week-long trip. Go out, just be with veterans, and just, sit around the campfire and tell stories and relate and everything. And it's, just shed all of the problems that we have with society at large, because it's just a hard transition to make, and then you can go back and hit it again, And so I think there's a lot of benefits to have it. I wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't. But so I'm currently, I have a website, but I haven't been able to publish the website that I've built, and it's very amateurish. So I'm getting help from a professional, and then we'll publish it. That should be up soon. Maybe by the time this views, I hope. So I'll give the website. It's our name is Euroshield Overland.
Euroshield Overland.
And the website is euroshieldOverland.org. and and I've got other things to do, and I've got to get the cars into country.
It's a great thing.
That's what we're working
I
on.
think it's fantastic because there's some people who can even afford to come along and help sponsor the trip and come along on the trip too. With their truck or one of your trucks.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a part of it. Is it's going to be we're going to offer it free of charge to all veterans and their families, wives, kids. Give them a truck, put fuel in it, give them all the camping supplies, and feed them for the however long, and pay the fuel, and off we go. Make it no cost to them, because I have it. The premise is 3 R's. Reward. Okay, there's the reward. Recreate and rehabilitate. Okay, so that's what we're going to provide, and we also want to provide to those who have been helping us, right? And so yes, if someone wants to, for example, say, hey, we'll cover the fuel and the food for the trip, you can come and join, and you can go out with us, and you can buddy up with some of these guys that or a lot of different ways that we can do it, but we're definitely going to facilitate, because we really, really appreciate the help that we've gotten, particularly from the European nations, where governments, they talk a lot and they do a little, but the people in these nations,
The grassroots initiatives, they either form little charity groups or even just individuals who do it on their own. They are so helpful, and they're doing what the government can't get out of their own way to do, right? And of course.
And so they've been so helpful, and they continue to be so helpful in this fight, that we need to also reward them somehow too, right?
Well, they
And
have
to
a
say
stake
thank
in
you-
this
to say
country.
thank you so much to everyone. But it's not enough, right? It's just not enough. I want for them to have something tangible, for them to know what difference they've made, what their contribution, what the result of their contribution, and who they were helping. These Ukrainians they're heroes. They are the absolute warriors of the 21st century and prior. Not in 70 years have there been the warriors and the heroes walking the face of the earth that are the Ukrainian fighters today. And some people may lose sight of this, and they might, that it's been going on so long, it may become a little bit, routine and humdrum and another story on the news. But people really need to realize this. They really need to appreciate this, and what better way than to let them meet some of them and tell them themselves, thank you. And so we're trying to create a lot of different ways that we can have some interaction between these heroes,
Yes.
and those supportive heroes, those backroom heroes who have been helping us in our
Well, I mean,
fight.
you met Jonas.
That's a great guy. That's a perfect example of someone who, it's one thing to help on a personal level, right? And it's another thing to organize help and bring more people into the fold.
And use his
And
professional
then-
network and capital and expertise in his field.
and bring and funnel. And there's, the woman that we both love to death,
Tilda.
She, what a just a gem of a person. I could sit here with Tilda right now and just, feel so much adoration for her, just her character and her person. But then if you look at her role and what she does, there are two people who I deal with here regularly who have been key cogs in the, let's call it the supply game to Ukraine, right? And that's you and it's Tilda. And the big reason why is because I've seen both of you get fiery angry not because somebody insulted you, or because you guys get fiery angry because you see someone who is getting money or materials from the outside and squandering it and not using it in the most effective way, right? And I know that you personally, you would get some real cool kit, you know, would get brought in, and someone in like hospitalers or another unit would say like, oh man, I need that scope for my rifle, that'd be really cool, guy. And you're like, hey, that's gotta go to somebody in the front who's actually engaging the rush, you know, and you're like, and it's not that you were angry that someone asked for something. You were angry that someone would have the audacity, and I forgive them, you know, they're just like, hey, I'm helping out here, I want something cool, you know, okay, I get it. But I see it in you and I see it in Tilda, that, you know, this fire, like, wait a minute, if you're trying to take one thing away from our guys at the front line, then I hate you and I want to kill you, right? And yeah, and there are so many jokers here who, you know, there are those who are just in it for themselves, and then there are those who are, yeah, they're helping, but they're also making sure that they're getting their piece too, right?
Or they're just not very good at helping too.
Yeah, or they're just not very
there's a lot of that.
Also,
Good hearts.
Yes.
Sorry,
but it's
not sorry.
So it's, you know, I would tell anyone, if they are looking to really support Ukraine and they're looking for someone who they can trust and who they can support, of course I'll give them Hospitaler links.
Yes.
Because Hospitalers is a premier organization, and your funding of Hospitalers is going to go 100% to the medics who serve at the front line and everything to support them. And when I say front line, I mean front line. I don't mean the ones who are saying that they're frontline medics and they're working in the rear areas, driving between two hospitals near Dnipro.
And we need that too.
Yeah, we need it, but just tell people that that's what
Tell
you're
them
doing.
the truth.
Don't tell them that you're working at the front and hold up your bloody gloves because you know.
She only had like this much blood on her hands. She's like, I have blood on my hands.
I know.
Go back to Helsinki, shut up.
And it's probably because they were driving a patient who was already treated and wrapped up from here to there, and she decided she wanted to look at the wound, and she went down and looked at the, you know, unwrapped the bandage.
She was driving from Limon
and got
to
bloody fingers.
Kramatorsk.
Yeah.
Like, not Limon now. Limon like a year and a half ago.
Yes, right.
Like Nova Post was rocking,
Right.
and
Right.
yeah.
And I look, if you say I'm transporting patients from one hospital to another and we need help, we're doing this because somebody's got to do it.
Yes.
Okay, great. But don't say that you're at the front line, and by all means, don't come on and say that Hospitalers sent you on a suicide mission.
No.
Because
Even from Terne to Zarichne was fine then, you know, well, pretty much.
and here's the thing is, this is a war, right? And there are truths about war, and one of those truths is that to save lives, you have to risk lives, right? You have to. That's the name of the game. You have to. And so you know that when you're signing up, when you're going to do that. It's not a suicide mission. It is a wartime frontline evacuation. It's not a suicide mission. If I was getting sent on suicide missions, I wouldn't be talking to you here in 3 years later, okay? But this is all targeted to drive and to say, you know, we're victims, we're suffering, we're in need, we need help, please fund us, you know, and be honest with people. Be honest with people about what you're doing. So that's why I say, look at the links to Hospitalers. You're not going to be steered wrong. Every penny you send is going to be used well. You, absolutely, like I said, I've seen it in you and Tilda. And those are the only 3 people I will full 100% endorse.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Her and I have very different methods. Like, Tilda's a genius, but she also has different resources, and she has different funding sources than me. Like,
And
she has
different
the biggest
ideas about how
mine.
to
She's the
fund
biggest
and
mine
whatnot.
in Europe backing her through QM. But if it wasn't for Tilda, that wouldn't happen.
She's
That's
doing
phenomenal.
freaking awesome, great, unbelievable things. You are doing freaking awesome, unbelievable things. And I don't have the slightest issue with the way that she is doing or the way that you're doing it. It's different. Okay, fine. It's different. You know, Mars and Venus.
It's like I tell people in Sweden sometimes, and to risk to myself, because I know how much of my money comes from Sweden, I say, yeah, if you want to back QM or you want to talk to Tilda, because I have war experience. Tilda doesn't have war experience, but that's not her job. Her job is to be right behind all those people and all those units, and she has Excel spreadsheets. She can tell you within 85% of what she has in stock, what's coming in stock. So if somebody from the outside in Sweden, like I always say, go speak Swedish for this week, go speak to a German. If I knew a German I would trust, I would send them. I just find it so much better, and they don't want to talk to her, a lot of these guys, because I've held a gun and we're multicam, you want to ask me? And it's like, my cool story, if I told you cool story, you'd cry. But when I get fiery mad, and I'm walking down the road here the other day, and someone wrote me yesterday, why do you always passively aggressively attack this organization who brings cars to Ukraine? And I'm like, because I'm not stupid. It's like, you can charge $20,000-$30,000 to fundraise for it, but it's still a 10 to 15-year-old L200. You can paint it whatever you want and whatever slogan on it, but it is not $20,000 to $30,000. You know, it's like how is a Hilux, a 2012 Hilux that I buy from Harley? He gets it for me with 80,000 miles on it. That was £6,000, £2,000 repair, transport, then the BF Goodrich All-Terrain 6, and then the kit, and I'm just over not £11,000 for this. Yeah. But how do you get $20,000 to $30,000? How do you raise $350,000 for 4 snatch Land Rovers? I keep saying the word snatch. Snatch means pussy in fucking England, you know what I mean? Yes, it is called a snatch, but we don't emphasize the snatch Land Rover. You know, it's like a fanny pack, you know? Yeah. It was so cringe. I couldn't add those up, no matter what I did, I could not add it up to 210,000, the most generous. Yeah. And it's like, I'm just tired of seeing people get pantsed. The first organization I mentioned, I think they should continue. Because it's retail donations, it's never going to come here any other way. They make it so easy for everybody, but it's like, we can get 2 for 1. I don't want $1 million a month. I want to be me. I want to go back to work. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You know? Yeah. But it's like, I'm just tired of just pissing it all up against the wall. Yeah. Because only the good are dying. No, I shouldn't say that. We get lucky sometimes with the missile strikes. You know what I mean? But it's like the best people are dying in the war. Yes. And you can keep talking victory. I don't conceptualize it. I'm just talking my personal mind. Victory or defeat is not my business. It's none of my business. It's like what people think of you is none of your business. Do you know what I mean? It's like when a girl stops talking to you. Oh, is she with another guy or whatever? You're old enough now. It's none of your business. My goal is my goal in life, but I know whatever happens at the end of this, we're going to be left with so many people, but more good people are dying than bad people on our side. And my only goal here, like I said the other day, I'm just playing out a Schindler fantasy with other people's money. Do you know what I mean? Put it on. We're just buying lives. That's all we're doing, Dan. We're not on the big pic. You and me. We're just buying lives. So I hope Volva can have kids, you know what I mean? And they would be good kids like their father. Their father.
We're buying lives, but there's more. There's more. What we are doing, what all of Ukraine is doing, and what we're helping them to do, is they are holding the line. Okay, and I've got to get into it now. The two ways that this war can end. Realistically, Ukraine cannot push Russia out of here alone. Right? The Ukrainian armed forces, and they're winning this war. The line might be moving a little bit this way, but the targets that we're hitting now in Russia, you know, they are winning. We are devastating Russia right now. it's not known what the damage is because Russia will lie and will not talk about it, will not let this out. But we are devastating Russia now. But we can be as, we can send out Spiderweb 2.0 and we can do all of this stuff. We're not pushing Russia out. We're not doing it. We're not able to. Maybe someday, 15 years down the road, we might be able to push Russia out. So if we want to push Russia out, we have to do one of two things. One, we need foreign armies here to assist. We need foreign armies here to assist. We know that there are this coalition of the willing and other European nations who would be more than happy to come and contribute. But they can't do it. They can't be the first one to move because whoever moves first is going to have a target on their back.
We need 250,000 men minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum.
And so it either has to be a whole coalition so that nobody can
Like how we invaded Iraq.
Ex-
Britain put up 50,000 men. That's a lot for Britain.
There were 29.
America put up 100,000 men.
When it was time to liberate Kuwait in 1990.
I was talking the second one, but yeah, you're older.
When there were 29 nations, within 2 weeks, 29 nations had armies in place on the Saudi border and then rolled in to liberate Kuwait. Who does Iraq target? Who does Iraq blame and say, they say the United States. Well, guess what? The United States is a big boy. We can wear a Russian target on our back. Russia can't do a damn thing to us. They can saber rattle and they can throw all these around. They can't do a damn thing to us. Wake up. Wake up. They can't even push Ukraine around. They're literally like 18 times larger than Ukraine. They can't even push Ukraine around. They're gonna somehow dent the United States. You're insane. That's Chicken Little, right? That's Chicken Little crying, oh, they got nukes, yeah. You could, if you are not going to use nukes against a country that rolls into, dozens of miles across the border and occupies a good portion of one of your oblasts, and then sits there for 10 months and occupies it and is striking you from it. If that's not the red line, if that's not what triggers you to escalate and use and move into the new, what is the United States gonna do that's gonna trigger it? Give me a break. Give me a break.
So it comes at a cost that they're not willing to pay yet.
Okay, here's the thing.
Because if Russia doesn't pull out, they have no war experience, you got to pay 5-figure men. Lost.
Absolutely.
Voters,
but
taxpayers.
But here's the two ways to push Russia out. Number one, it's going to cost money, dollars, lives. You're going to bring combined armies in here and you're going to physically push them out. The second way is to absolutely destroy the Russian economy. And that economy is on the ropes right now, and that costs $0 and 0 lives. So
it's just loss of profit. That's all it is.
Everyone who is watching your videos, who is an American, should be contacting and pressuring their leadership, their senators, their representatives.
Every member of parliament, European, everyone else watching this.
Everyone.
I've got Aussies.
But we've got a bill that's ready to go in the United States to put 500% tariffs on not only Russia, but on any nation that purchases oil from Russia. That would do it. That would do it. Their economy is on the ropes right now. It's collapsing. If you want to see regime change in Russia, not that that's going to, people have to remember that Putin didn't make Russia. Russia made Putin. So if you remove Putin, you still have big problems with Russia, okay? But regime change will be necessary, right? And it's either going to happen when armies push them out because nobody likes a failure, and then it will happen afterward, or it can happen before. But the thing that we can do that costs $0 and 0 lives right now is pass that bill, put those tariffs on. Trump right now is fighting to
enforce them,
to keep control of it so that he can release it if he wants it. Screw that. I think that's a big mistake because, when once Putin decides that it's better for him to try to deal with Trump, once he's really on the verge of collapse, everything,
He won't have the cards.
He can try to butter up to Trump, and then Trump offer him some kind of deal. Okay, if you're going to give us, this or that part of your, oil industry, if you give us 20% of your oil intake, we'll lift the sanctions against you. Stuff like this. He'll sell it like a prostitute.
And now my friend gets 20%
So-
of Gazprom.
Yeah. So I don't want exactly. So
And
now
I get to
I
build
don't
golf
want-
courses and casinos.
I don't want Trump to have control over that. That's what he's fighting for right now, and the direction that they're going is that they're going to allow him this so that he'll sign it and we'll put it in place. I would rather have that and have those in place than not have them in place. But I would rather have them just circumvent it and go around, because they have 84 votes for it. It's a gross supermajority. It's not, if they can bring it to a vote, it will pass, and he can, as a supermajority, he can't veto it. So that can be put into play. I would rather have them do that, but they don't want to do that because that means that Trump will not endorse them in their coming elections.
Yes.
So it's kind of political suicide for them, but
For the primaries, you mean?
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So, but it's messy, it's tricky, but the main thing is we need to put these sanctions on Russia and its customers, because that would force China to have to say, hey, we can't buy Russian oil anymore. If China stops buying Russian oil, that one customer, that would collapse Russia's economy, would collapse it.
In a nutshell, yes.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Daniel Rebar, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Who knows? We'll see what 2026 brings us in this. We know what
Something good.
we know what
Something good.
2025 is all about.
Things that people aren't seeing it. But if you look deeper into it, things are going our way here. Things are going our way here. And victory's coming. I can't say how soon, but victory's coming. It might be a couple of years.
Yeah.
But we're rolling.
We're still here. Hope
Victory
we can
is
be an
coming.
overlander, and hope I can live out my Emmanuel Stewart fantasy with my boxing club here.
Hey.
Dryesh,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
one of the greatest residents of Detroit in all history. Saved a lot of young men's lives.
For sure.
You know about Manny Stewart, don't you?
Absolutely.
About the Kronk.
Absolutely.
He was a genius.
Absolutely. The Crop Gym is still there. It's not active, but it's still there.
Sugar Hill now, carry on the legacy.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm going to train all these Ukrainian kids. I'm going to use my social media to influence and get money to fund ex-amateurs from England. I've got a few world champions. I've got a couple of apartments in Triashina. If you want to come and volunteer and train here, come and live in Kiev for a couple of months. We'll have the old grandmothers, have the old babushkas, they'll be cooking grechka, there'll always be food on, a couple tables. Have you done your homework? You know what I mean? I'm
I
gonna
can
have
cook
that.
you. You got trees out here. I can cook you hrechka, right? You know that hrechka is just take a dustpan out underneath the tree and get all those scrapings.
Yeah, we're
going
gonna
to
turn
the
this
top
off
and
now.
all
It's
that.
the best food in the world. It's superfood. That's how you get these
Oh,
arms. That's how you get
yeah.
those. That's grechka,
Yeah.
baby. I'll tell you what does this. That's something else. All right. End communication. Bye, Dan.
Bye.